Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Dan.
This is the Board Game Rundown. Today we are going to do a review of Nemesis Lockdown from Awaken Realms. 1 to 5 players?
Yep. Hell yeah.
Basically about an hour per player. May not
less.
be
45 minutes per player.
Yeah. My turns were 10 seconds each. So
my turns were fast too.
Mine too.
This game just takes a long time.
Yeah.
So in Nemesis Lockdown, unlike Nemesis where you're on the ship and then you're trying to either, navigate the ship back to Earth or somewhere else, or, or self-destruct the ship. On this one, we are on the Mars, space station on Mars, colony on Mars. And there's different sections of the colony which have power. This can be changed around, right? Power can be shut off and on in different areas. Like Nemesis, everybody's got their own unique objectives. You kind of can choose like how mean or nasty it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the general rule is you're going to start the game with a mean and a nice one, and you choose, halfway-ish through the game which one you're following. But, like, they're not always one mean, one nice. It's just that tends to be how it pans out.
Yeah, that's fair. But anyways, like Nemesis, again, you're going around, you're doing different objectives. There's potential to get noise tokens, generate noise, which could then spawn critters. It really creates a lot of tension, right? And makes, normally you'd be like, well, why wouldn't I want to move in that room? And then you look at like all of the noise tokens around and you're like, well, I'm probably going to spawn something.
Hey, you see the yellow things from the top-down camera right now? Those are bad.
This is our board state at basically the end of the game that we just finished playing.
Wow.
That's my escape pod.
Wow.
Yeah.
I get it. It's not your game.
That's
so.
true.
Anyways, we are playing. We were using Dan's Kickstarter version, which just recently filled. So there are some nicer bits in here that you might. I don't know what the retail looks like. So yeah, maybe it's a little.
It is pretty similar.
Okay.
I only did everything that was a built-in add-on and everything, and I don't know what that is. So honestly, especially, base game Nemesis, most of this stuff is base game components.
Did the doors?
No, the doors came in the add-on box.
And
That is true.
I do want to point out that if you have the option, these doors, they break, like they actually come apart.
They don't break;
together.
they come apart.
Yeah.
Right. They
And that
start
is-
as one piece, and when they break, you pull them apart.
Yeah,
They're
if I
just
can
really
actually-
tight.
Yeah, they're tight. But yeah, it's really ingenious. I love how they do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it looks good. Looks good. Everybody, instead of in Nemesis where you had asymmetrical player powers,
Well, technically, that was an expansion, I think.
Yes, it
right?
was an expansion.
Yeah, but
what you do have in this is asymmetrical player decks.
right, which you do in normal Nemesis, but I'll say from my experience playing, Spencer and I have played Nemesis a lot.
Yeah.
These decks feel, in general, way more powerful and just way cheaper. I mean,
Yeah.
most
of my
of
cards are zeros.
Most of your cards are, most of your cards are a zero cost to do, and that is just, from my memory, not the case in normal Nemesis.
Oh, no.
so
Now,
that is
granted,
very
I had
nice.
like one that was a 2, but pretty much all the rest of it, which is repairs, all
Yeah.
the rest of mine are zeros. And you've had some that don't cost any,
Right.
which I've never seen. And there's also what they do is so vastly different. Like this character can remove slime tokens from herself or use contamination cards. I'm like, that's
Yeah,
so
again, they
different.
just feel, in general, more powerful
Yeah.
than the previous game.
Yeah. Again, right, like any Awaken Realms game or Nemesis, really, right? The sculpts on the miniatures are amazing. The artwork is absolutely top-notch, fantastic. I mean, every Awaken Realms game, whether you love it or hate it, has amazing artwork.
Yeah.
And the component quality is also just off the charts amazing. It is like it rivals Simon, like when Simon decks out like their stuff, or Stonemeyer, like they deck out their stuff. Like Awaken Realms for me is kind of like the top dog right now with the way that they do their things. And again, the artwork is always really consistent
It is.
and really good. And yes, like the doors that you can
Closed
show,
off.
you can move to show whether they've been broken, or they're just closed. It's just so many good things. So many amazing and really good things. Now, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, for the people coming from Nemesis to this, right, there are some huge changes. that overall I think are positive.
I agree.
But the main thing that Tim has mentioned already is this power mechanic where there's different powers, different rooms, and as different room actions and stuff, you can actually move these around. So if we're all in the third section and no one's in the first section, we can actually purposely power down the first section to power up the lower section and stuff because that's where we are. This token will also flip depending on if the power is on or not, and that will have us slowly losing power to, throughout this place over the course of the game.
Right.
Also, events and stuff like that will say, like, here's the event, but also anyone in darkness has a slightly worse event added on top as well. And this amazing mechanic, when you're fighting the aliens, if you're in a powered section, you have an advantage die instead, which is just way easier to hit enemies with. Basically, you can discard cards to do automatic damage. Just a fantastic little light system here. And then also there is the new end game here. Instead of, so in base Nemesis, this would be like the checking of the engines and making sure you were going to
cockpit,
Earth
yeah.
and stuff like this,
Yeah,
right?
I liked this.
So
Yeah, I like this too.
In
This
this one,
made
you
me
have
sweat
the
a lot.
what's the C word for these?
Contingency
plans. And I always describe it as the AI from Resident Evil. You know, the base has been under attack, something has gone out, and the base has decided, okay, well, after a certain amount of time, you know, you have 1 hour to evacuate, and then this is happening. But the thing with that is it is placed face down at the start of the game, and then everyone else is handed one, and then whatever's left is piled up here in the middle of the game. And so I know one that it's not doing, right?
Yeah.
And then you can go to this room and research this one to figure out what that is. But then other than that, you kind of just have to either use a computer action that lets you look at other people's or just ask people to, like, hey, I'll show
And
you
hope they're
mine,
being honest.
you know?
Yeah.
If you
Remember,
let me
this is a
see yours.
semi-co-op game.
Yeah.
So
So
if I need him to die, and I know that the pods are not safe, I can say, "Oh no, the pods are safe."
Yeah,
Right.
Pods are good. You're good.
Pods
dude.
are great,
Yeah.
man.
As
Don't
Spencer's
beat me to that pod.
As
Don't
Spencer's
you
walking
dare.
this way.
I'm going that way.
I need to get to that pod. Bob, don't go in that. Oh, good. He went in the pod.
He's locked in now.
Can I launch it now?
But so I love this contingency system a lot. It adds this weird social deduction kind of element, or not even social, but just deduction element to this game of trying to figure out what that is, because that changes how you're going to escape at the end of the game. If I mean, there were like 2 of us heading into the isolation room this game, and we all kind of mathed out that was going to kill everyone in the isolation room. So you saw everyone kind of go, and kind of start walking away from it, you know? And there's some other, you know, small changes here and there that I like a lot. The knowledge system is very interesting to where now the game starts with one weakness revealed, but you have to have a certain amount of knowledge in order to use them, and there's little lines here to show that. Obviously, as you can see, we never even unlocked the other 2, but and then the knowledge just doesn't just go into that. Knowledge is tied into some objectives, and then also it's a little thematic element too, because so Spencer and Tim were playing as the 2 characters from Nemesis, not literally characters from Nemesis, but they were characters in Lockdown who are supposed to represent characters from the Nemesis game, but they have, you know, they've been here for a year or something, so they're not called the same thing. Like, he's literally Survivor, and she's Lab Rat, and they are supposed to be future of characters from Nemesis. So they start with higher knowledge in the game because they have fought these things before. To where Bob and Jeff and I, we are workers of the Mars facility and have never encountered these aliens before, so we start with a starting knowledge of 1, and we have to actually learn how to fight these things. It's a cool little thematic element that didn't need to be there, and they did it. But yeah, I think that's like all that I really need to mention for the changes.
The escape pods now automatically launch as the time tracker goes down, and you don't know what order they're going to launch in. So if you don't get in the right escape pod at the right time, you don't get in that escape pod.
Right.
And if you get in that escape pod and it's the last thing to launch, you're just going to sit there.
Yeah. Yeah, Bob actually was able to peek at a couple and slide them around so he could kind of
Did
manipulate.
you move that one to
were-
that spot? Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
Nice,
B
nice.
only, and then I switched it to the all
Oh,
of
okay.
them. So that way I could go to whichever one I wanted to and just get out.
Gotcha.
Nice.
And I wanted other people to get out because my objective was literally me and my best friend get out. And
Right.
I didn't care who my best friend was, just somebody.
Tim, did you get out? You're my best friend.
Hooray! I'm somebody's best
It was
friend. No
Jeff.
takebacks.
Oh, wait. He had the chest burster.
yeah.
Oh.
He was
So-
my best friend.
So yeah, and then like regular Nemesis, right? We
Yep.
all finish the game. You scan your contamination cards. I had 1 that said infected. I had to draw 4. Nothing happened. Jeff had like 5 that were all infected. They were all bad. Were they all bad, Jeff? They were
That's
all
crazy.
bad.
That means somehow in the top 10 cards, like, and
all
it
the
was
infection
shuffled. I
cards. Most of
watched
them
it be
were-
shuffled. So
yeah.
that's just a very poor shuffling job, or man, were the odds against us. Right.
Right.
Wow.
And then, of course, unfortunately for Jeff, it was the very first card he drew. So despite meeting his objective, he did die and not win the
Wah,
game. and then we killed the offspring of his chest.
Yeah.
Keep up appearances.
But yeah. So anyways, so 4 out of 5 ain't bad, right? That all won.
I'll take it.
I'm one of the 4, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
It is a rare Nemesis victory for me. So to see that, go out pretty well. And I was thinking, like, for a little bit, like, I can't win this game.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
me
think
too.
I could win this game. But I didn't realize that the bunker was safe for everybody because I kept looking and thinking, like, oh, no, like, I've got to be I thought it was either only the isolation room or the pods or the bunk, like you know what I mean? Like, because there's things that will kill everybody in the isolation room and there's things that will kill everybody in the pods.
Yep.
But then I didn't, like, while freaking out about that, didn't see that the bunker is always safe. And I'm like, oh, well, I can get back up to the bunker because I just fixed that to be nice.
Right.
I fixed that room way early, and then it got broken again, so it didn't matter. But I at least tried. But anyways,
And Tim, the way that you knew the bunker was safe was because another change from Nemesis to Lockdown, which is very nice. What are these?
oh,
We
right.
have
player
cards.
aids.
This is
really
so
good,
weird.
really good player aids.
Really nice players.
player aids.
Really
I mean,
good
Nemesis
player
has
aids.
some. Like, Nemesis does tell you the crafting thing somewhere. I remember. I think it's on your player board.
Yeah, it is.
But like to actually have, so this tells you all the different contingencies in the game and all the different CSS pods in the game, and then this talks you through intruder bag development. And like, God, why did it take so long for those to be added? But anyway, yeah, that's another nice addition.
No, I mean, yes, this is Nemesis.
Oh, and this.
This is basically Nemesis, right? But there's definitely some different things to it. So we are gonna rate this like we normally do. Dan, how do we do that?
So the 4 of us are each going to give the game a 1 through 10. We do use 0.5s because why not? Just so if you agree with one of us, like going into this, Spencer and I are big fans of Nemesis. So if you're big fans of Nemesis, then that might make more sense to you. Tim and Bob have always been kind of skeptical of Nemesis. I don't think that they would call it a terrible game, but it's definitely not one of their favorites. So if you lean more that way, their score might make more sense. But then we're going to average it all together so that we just have one score at the end to put on places like Discord, Board Game Geek, Facebook, any place where someone asks us what our score might be or that we just want to post a score.
Sure. Well, do we start with the skeptic or one of the fanboys?
We should go like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah, I
boom.
think that's
Back
All
and
right,
forth.
all right. Well, we'll go skeptic first. So,
All right.
Bobby,
Yeah.
where do you come down on Nemesis Lockdown?
Well, so it kept one of the things I really liked about Nemesis is the items, right? So when you explore the room, you flip a token over and it tells you how many items in the room, and you kind of rotate.
I love that mechanic.
That's
It's
just a
really
really
good.
neat mechanic. Yeah. So as you search the room, it becomes more empty, and you just rotate it down, and eventually you're out of items in the room. That makes sense, and I like it. I like the elevator. I think that's a super cool
The
mechanic.
elevator's a really
You can
cool
bring people
mechanic.
in with you and go right up and down to the different levels.
What's funny is you declined going on the elevator, and then like a turn later, you're like, "Oh, I should have went on the elevator."
No, he went
No,
on the
I
elevator,
went. And I was
but
like,
he
oh
went
wait,
to
I
the
need to go
wrong
back.
floor.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
gotta
went
go
to the
back
wrong
up. Well,
floor.
the room I wanted wasn't there.
Yeah.
So and plus Jeff caught it on fire. So I was like, I'm gonna not go that way. I'm gonna go the other way.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I do really enjoy the little confidential contingency plans there. The computer thing is pretty neat. It adds a nice little twist to the computer actions, especially because I was the hacker, so I got to do a lot of the computer actions, which was kind of cool. Although then when you want one specific computer action, you're like, oh crap, that was not available. Right? Yeah,
You gotta hack.
So
You
you
gotta
gotta,
keep going.
sit there and hack to actually get
I
to
like
it. But like when it comes to this, we played for what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours?
It was like
3.5
hours.
hours.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there was a
1 to,
really long
1 to
setup.
3:30.
Yeah.
We started at close to 1.
Oh, okay, I
we
see.
played to 3:30.
So 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
If I'm
That's
gonna
what I
play a
said.
2.5 hour game, there's a lot of other games I would rather play. And that's where I'm gonna come down. Like I like the experience. I think we have a good time. There's a lot of standing, cheering, yelling, and like trying to get out and hustle. But I'm gonna come down on like a 7.5. Like
Okay.
it's a good game. It's not like I don't like it. I did have a better experience with doing the damage the way Dan was, because like Tim and I, if you've watched our previous video on Nemesis, you're like, oh, I hit it, I attack. Oh, nope, it has 5 health, so it's gonna go underneath. Okay, I'm gonna shoot it again, hit it again. Oh wait, nope, it only had 2 health this time, so I'm gonna. So
Yeah, it's already had enough damage on
Yeah.
it to kill it.
So we're not a big fan of that. Dan did have a way to work around, and that worked out okay. Just looking at it, like, nope, it's not dead, and then hiding it without telling us how much health it actually had. That kind of helped.
Again, that's not how much health it has. They are using an improper term there.
Sure.
Just for people that want to learn how to play,
It
that
is
is not how much
the
health it has.
damage you need to exceed to
kill it.
this turn.
Sounds like health.
That's fine. I hear whining.
Yeah. But like I said, so yeah, 7.5. Like I said, it's a decent game. I'd rather play something like Anachrony or something like that if I'm gonna have this much time invested in
And
the
add
game.
another 2 hours to your experience.
No, you can play it without an hour and a half teach. You
Yeah.
can play that game in 2 hours.
You can play Anachrony in 2 hours.
Yep.
I just had to pick on you
I know
because the
you
last
did.
time you
because the
played
last time
Anachrony,
was
it's like 5 hours.
It was what it was.
And still didn't finish.
We were close.
Spencer. I know this is one.
That means
Well,
I
I
have to
know
finish.
regular Nemesis
Yeah.
is one of your
Regular
favorites.
Nemesis is one of my favorites. I like a lot of the changes they've made. Something we didn't point out
Oh yeah.
is
Help
I never
dials.
was a
What's that?
fan. It was one of the reasons
tracker.
I knocked it down a little is because you're trying to fit these little
Damage
red
cubes.
cubes
Terrible.
onto the
Yeah,
things
just to
and-
keep it in
but
there. Yeah.
Now
to
you
keep
have
track.
these little counters.
Yep.
And you can just put it next to the thing, and it's so
The
much
spawn
easier
disc.
to see how much health it has, and you know how much maximum health it could have. It goes up to 8, and the other ones go up to 12 or something like that. So yeah, much nicer.
I don't actually
Yeah.
think an intruder can have up to 8 though.
Probably
Sure,
not, probably
but
not,
you know, if to ride that though, Spencer, you know, if you're going to use that to track the marker, you could have just taken this and put your cubes on that.
That's what I used to do,
Okay,
but I just think that this is more elegant.
it's
much easier.
It is nicer.
There are a lot of other little things that they've added that I
Mhm.
really like the changes that they made. I especially like this knowledge system where you have to both find the weakness and have enough knowledge in order to use it.
Mhm.
The way they do the analyzed object is nice. The help cards are nice. I don't have anything bad to say about the game myself.
They
In
didn't
fact,
make any change that you didn't care for.
No, there weren't any changes I didn't care for. And at the end of the game, I had 3
Serious
wounds. One more would have killed me. And
Is that 2 broken arms? It's hard to read.
2
over
broken
here.
knees.
Oh, 2 broken
Oh my
knees.
God.
How did you walk to that?
Because it said that if my movement action would have been extra, but I never made a movement action, I crawled through the Jeffries tubes.
Wow.
It was incredible. My heart is still pounding a little bit from the end of this game. And as I'm scanning all of my contamination cards, my hands are shaking. I'm like, oh my God, did I get one? So I am actually going to give this my first 10.
Oh my
Oh! So it is improved enough
Yes, it's improved enough from regular Nemesis. I
to
would
make it
rather
to
play
a 10
this,
for you.
and I would
Wow.
play this anytime.
Most
I was
excellent.
not expecting that.
Yeah.
Like that's cool.
Uh-huh.
Most excellent.
Now I
Most
can't wait for my
excellent.
copy to come.
So I guess then we will go with skeptic and then we will end
Sure.
on fan.
Okay.
Okay, so I think my issue with Nemesis is original Nemesis is that I love the theme so much. I love the concept so much. And the actual gameplay I really enjoy most of the time. But then like 2 hours later, after an hour setup, before that, it's like, okay, can we play? Are we going to have time to do anything else? Like, is this is it? Now, don't get me wrong. Like, it still provides an amazing experience and story. Even on the crap game that Bob and I had, we still had some pretty funny stories about
Yeah.
that, right? So games where you get that, right, are always, those for me are always positives, right? You get those really good experiences. This is still probably not a game I feel like I need to own, which isn't like a make or break, right? I do also have 2 friends in my immediate game group that when I do get to game, I'm usually gaming with one of these guys, right? So I have access to Nemesis. I think if nobody had access to Nemesis, I might be like, oh, I probably should try to get it, like because it's my obligation to do that. But you know what I mean? Like it's a game. It's an excellent game to have access to. If you want to paint all this stuff, man, it will look amazing, right?
I love the flooring that they do in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is like the first one too, but yeah, it's super cool.
go online and look at the jobs people have done on these things.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I would say that the theme is close enough that the theme is still just as high for me,
Oh,
right?
sure.
Like I enjoy the theme. I love the concept, right? Oh, well, because now we're on a Mars colony.
Yeah.
Right,
So
and
it's-
it is a direct canonical sequel. Like
Yeah.
this
Sure.
is the Mars colony that the Nemesis ended up at
Well,
after
and
the
it-
first
I
game.
love that it did that.
feels like Alien and Aliens, right?
Right,
You're on a
exactly.
ship.
It does.
Now you're in a colony.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Wait, what? No way. That's where they took it from?
I know. No, it's great. It's great. That is a compliment. Because it's a lot of the things, right? I mean, in this game even, we had so many like stand up as we roll a die, like, oh, just don't roll the boop, I rolled it.
Yeah.
You know, the escape at the end, everybody is kind of like,
The queen in the nest as soon as he walked in.
I walk in the queen
And then
just
he
shows up
chased
behind me.
after you.
we could not have like ended the game any different. Like we had to end the game in
my
a certain order to where like people had to get to the room in a certain order, and then the person with the key had to be able to unlock it before we
Yeah.
could all head out. And then like
Yeah.
we had 2 people that did need the rover and 1 person that did need the rover, and then the last person who needed the rover was able to use the computer to get the rover
Yeah,
back.
no.
Like it couldn't have ended this way
Or
any other
closer.
way.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. You was
Well-
down to like 1 card, 2 cards.
So my dilemma with this game is I feel like it takes too long.
Yeah.
But the flip side of that is I don't know how you shorten it, because
Yeah.
all of the mechanics and even the fiddliness of it, which I don't mind, all are the things that contribute to the good time that I have while playing it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, we
Like-
stayed on top of turns.
It's like
Yeah.
Twilight Imperium. It takes 8 hours to play the game, but when you're playing the game, you're having a great time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
usually.
You gotta set
Most of
aside
the
some
time.
time.
I've
Most
never,
of the
had,
time.
I've never had a bad
Usually.
Twilight.
Oh, I've got a friend you could play with
Yeah.
that would make you
Oh,
have a
sure.
bad
But you
time.
gotta
Wait,
have
zeros or
that time
tens?
set aside.
0 through 10. 4 hours into the game, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's where I'm conflicted, right? Because this actually did go faster than the last couple times I played regular Nemesis.
And to be fair, Jeff did end it halfway sooner.
We were playing right.
Yeah, but we were.
We're all getting there
We
anyway.
were all
Yeah,
getting
it
ready
would-
to
that did
kind of
escape.
like
We were-
speed up our
Yeah,
tempo.
it probably sped up our last round.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
2
We
rounds.
probably ended it 2 rounds earlier than
Yeah.
we normally would have, because
I
I think
would've-
everybody was getting close enough.
I
to,
wouldn't have taken the risk and gone this way again. I would have
Right.
going that
Sure.
way. Yeah.
Well, it would have been just you by yourself though, because everybody else
Everybody
was
else is out.
gone.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I was in the escape pod like 3 turns ago. Where you been?
So I mean, I go back and forth, right? Even as talking about it, like, because it does some things that it doesn't really do anything I don't like, except for the variable health. Dan's suggestion makes me feel a hell of a lot better about it.
I just like it. And I tried to. I only did it once this game, and I kind of did it as a joke. But I'm trying to turn it into a thematic thing as well, because the game's so thematic. So I like the idea of looking at the card. The person who's shooting doesn't get to say, and I say something like, "Oh, you shoot and you wing its shoulder, but it fights on," or something
Right.
like that, right? And that way, they're just getting a thematic thing that's happening with the fight, and not a
Nope.
the number was too high this time, right?
Nope.
I get it.
Yeah. But so anyways, this is an improvement though. I do feel like this is an improvement on a game that is already pretty good. Again though, right? Like, I kind of agree with Bob sometimes where it's like, if I'm going to commit all the time,
Other games you'd rather play.
maybe. Or maybe I just need to play it at like 4 players and not play it at 5 players.
Right,
is
that's
true.
obviously true too. We played it at a very high player count.
We did.
so,
We
yeah.
did, and I wasn't miserable. It wasn't like
Yeah.
Great Wall where it's like and I had a problem with the Great Wall where it's like I really like all the things you do in this game, but also it really takes too long.
Well, and the arch. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. But so I think really with all the hemming and hawing, I'm going to come down on a really solid 8.
Sure.
I think at 4 players for me or 3.
Yeah.
If you could shave
Maybe
off
3.
like a half an hour to 45 minutes, this is almost a 9 for
Yeah.
me.
I'd probably increase my score too if I get down to like an hour and a half.
But I'm really glad you guys own this because I do really want to play this more. Like, I want to play this version, Lockdown, more than regular Nemesis, and I think some of it is just because of the intrigue with the power
and the elevator.
shifting to the
Yeah,
rooms.
yeah.
And I didn't even use the elevator, but every time I'm like, oh, that looks so
I
cool.
know.
But I was crawling through vents
You
and
were
like,
a lot of
porting
vent,
around through
yeah,
the map.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like
you were,
that.
you were an
elevator.
elevator.
Yeah. Just drop down the
So
chute.
I mean, I was able to be pretty mobile.
were.
We did win. We all, everybody but Jeff won. But I felt like even then, when we all like kind of started to suspect Jeff, and then maybe a little worried about Bob because he got into like that escape pod pretty
Early.
It's like, well, crap. It's like, but the tension, like, legit. So I think what happens is the first couple rounds, you're a little timid, right? Moving around, and that's kind of fun. And then for me, like the middle rounds were not boring, but just not as exciting, not as interesting. And then it's like, well, there's like 3 or 4 rounds left. I'm so I gotta I've even found the room I need for my
Yeah.
objective. You know what I mean?
It really, the last like 3 rounds of this game really become like min-max.
And then-
okay, I need to make this many moves per turn. How many cards do I have in my hand? Yeah.
It's super tense, but really fun. So yeah, this is a very solid 8 for me. All right, Dan, where you at, buddy?
So I mean, this has been one of my favorite games for a long time, and I'll just come out and say I'm not going to give it a 10, but I will say that I told Spencer this after the first time we played it. Spencer and I have already played this. I honestly, after playing this, don't know if I'll play Nemesis again. I think that this does everything that Nemesis does, and then it adds some stuff that I just think are better.
Yeah.
I love all the changes in this game. I think are improvements. I really do. All the way the escape pods work, the way the power works, the way the knowledge works, I think they're all improvements. So I have this problem now that, like, I love Nemesis, but, like, why play it when I have Lockdown? Like, I'm kind of like in that, and that's a problem for me because that's a very expensive game, and I like it a lot. So yeah, just a couple things. So we didn't mention the computer thing. So this is a cool thing now that there's a cycling computer deck now. Every time someone uses a computer
there's
action,
rooms with a computer icon.
yeah.
Makes them more useful.
So
So now you're gonna have a rotating choice. When you take a computer action. So that's a cool change to mechanic as well. But yeah, I mean, overall, we've all said everything we say. I will say that for me, and this is just for me, I'm not insulting you guys, but, like, to me, a normal length of a good game is 2.5 hours. So I don't think that 2.5 hours is a long time when I'm playing a board game. Like, if I'm playing a worker placement game, I go into it expecting it to last 2.5 hours. If it's shorter than that, that's cool. But, like, I expect that. Like, if I go in playing Caverna, I'll say, it'll take like 2.5 hours.
well, that's Caverna.
I'm just saying that's a normal. I mean, I would say Lords of Waterdeep takes 2 hours.
No.
You know?
Play that either.
Yeah,
An hour and a half.
That's what I would say. But, like, that's just a normal length of time for me. Is maybe even 2 hours, maybe not 2.5. But I think that with the weight of this game and the important decisions and stuff you're making in this game, I just think a 2.5 hour time frame is normal. I think that if you took this exact game and made it an hour and a half, it would feel like it was missing something, right? Is like what I would say.
I mean, like I said, I don't know
Sure.
what you take out to make it shorter.
Right.
Players.
Because I like it. Right? And that might be it, right? You know, a 3 or 4 player game,
Right.
and you still have an amazing experience,
Right. Yeah.
right? Like, that's...
Oh yeah, I've had 2-player game with this. Was an amazing experience.
Sure.
But yeah, so I mean, we've pretty much mentioned everything else. I'm gonna fall down. I honestly don't know. I don't know what I rated Nemesis. I would probably rate this the same, even though I like it more, maybe a 0.5 higher. I think I give Nemesis a 9 out of 10. So since this is Lockdown, I'm gonna go with a 9.5. It's not a perfect game. It's not. It might be perfect for me though. Right, and that's what matters when I'm rating a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why we average it all together, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So again, we have in the 9s and 10s, and we have in the 7s and 8s, right? Which makes sense.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I would like to mention, this comes with these guys who are the Night Stalkers. If you have normal Nemesis, there are rules for implementing the intruders from Nemesis to use them instead.
Nice.
And you can use the Carnomorphs and the Void Seeders, so
Yep.
they're all interchangeable.
And
all
my
the
copy
monsters.
came with the Critids or
Oh,
whatever
the Critters,
that I
the
haven't
Chit-
played
Yeah,
with.
however you pronounce that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They look
I really want to see
fascinating.
what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you take all of our
No, you
scores and you average them all together, 8.8.
8.8? Okay.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That is a highly rated game.
Yes, it is.
And I think we all played the same game. I don't think that there's anything, like that we disagree on, really.
It comes down to just opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, preferences and opinions.
Yeah. But I mean, if any of this sounds good to you and nobody in your group has access to this game, it wouldn't kill you to be the one that had access to this game.
Yeah. Somebody in your group should have it.
Yeah. This game really provides an experience.
It does. Don't deny it that.
Yeah. This was an experience that was a lot of fun, even for my just very small complaints. I guess fundamentally I disagree with Dan,
Sure. 2.5 hour thing.
on the game length and desires for what that is, but that's not here. That's
Sure, but you're also talking to someone who likes playing Blood on Clock Tower for 3 hours, who likes playing Twilight Imperium for 8 hours. Like, these long games don't mean anything to
but
me.
I like playing Twilight Imperium in like 3 hours with 6 players.
That's possible.
That'd be nice.
I think I'd be
never
miserable.
seen that.
Again,
Oh
I
my
think I'd be
God, I
miserable.
had so much fun. It
Because
was
I played a
amazing.
really intense game of Twilight Imperium in 7 hours, and I just people would be like, "Hey, take your turn. That's a miserable gaming experience for me.
No, you don't want to do that. But I mean,
Right.
we all were experienced players. And knew what we were
Sure.
doing.
I guess if everyone is literally unfaltered and know exactly what they're doing, sure.
Well,
I
you
have
might-
played Twilight Imperium a bit and watched it and researched it more than I've played it, and I would not feel comfortable being like, "Oh, I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to take really fast turns."
I just love shooting from the hip sometimes, man.
right. Sure.
Well, I'm going to try this out, see what happens. All right, guys. So for the board game rundown, this has been Nemesis Lockdown, and I've been Tim.
I've been Bob.
I've been Spencer.
That was Dan,
We'll see you next time.
and Jeff died.
Womp womp.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. we publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.